Well, I'm working on another project here now. I thought I'd tackle this air cleaner. These things are, I don't think they're unique to the Puch or anything, or Allstates in general. I think a lot of German bikes use this kind of air filter on there, and probably at one time they were, cheap as anything, probably $5 for one of these. But this cover here is used as a choke. I don't think I have any trouble getting that off, because all I got to do is grind off the head of this rivet, and that'll get that off there. But they have this sealed up so you can't get it open. They used, I don't think you can see in there, but it's just more of that steel wool stuff like they use in a muffler. It's just what we used to call gravel strainer air filter, because that's probably all it's going to take out is large pieces of gravel. Dust and stuff would go right through this thing. The steel wool in there was supposed to be soaked with a sticky oil, and then the dust and dirt would impinge on the steel wool, and that's what would do the filtering. But they weren't very efficient, I don't think, as far as filtering goes. And also, this particular bike has oil injection, of course, which other bikes wouldn't have had. If you mix your oil and gas together, there's a certain amount of spit back comes through the air cleaner, and that would keep the steel wool wetted with oil, because there's oil mixed with the gasoline. But of course in this one you're not going to have that effect, I don't think. They used to call that a self-wetting oil filter. If you see somebody referring to self-wetting, well, that's what it means. It's just supposed to get wet from the spit back, and that keeps it. But you're supposed to rinse them out in gasoline to clean it, and that's about all I ever got. So this off, which is the only way I would know to where they swedged it closed. That's the only way I would know to really get that open and not destroy everything. Probably just grind on this until this piece comes off. Looks like somebody drilled some holes in here, which I can probably braze up and fix them up so they don't hurt anything. But that's the only way I can see to get it apart. So, well, I got this air filter apart. There's some screens in here. This one's kind of distorted. Looks like somebody been poking something in there. It wasn't too bad to get the two halves apart. I think I can fix these holes that somebody drilled in here. Obviously that would allow unfiltered air in there. But it's all kind of full of this black rust and stuff, which I'm sure if it got sucked in the engine would be very bad. This thing here, I don't know if you can see all the black stuff that's coming out of there, but it's really quite dirty. Grit and probably rust would be my guess is what it is. Iron oxide, which again, that's not going to do the bearings in the engine any good if that got sucked in there. So I'm thinking I'm going to blast this to clean it up. I think I'm going to put this choke thing, which I'd like to keep because it's the original thing on there, and it's kind of clever way to choke the engine to get it started. But I think I'll replace this. I'm going to put a captive nut on the back and be able to have a replaceable screw so I can get at least this piece off if I need to. But basically it's just clean it up. There's this edge is pretty true on this thing, although the whole works is bent a little bit. But I'm not sure how I'll put it back together. It goes together pretty easy. There's a ledge or a land in here that it sits on, and I think I can probably put it together and maybe even soft solder the thing back together. I'm not sure. If I can find something to replace this. I don't like the way that rusts and stuff in there. Of course, nobody was cleaning this like they're supposed to and oiling it up. You're supposed to wash them out in a mixture of gasoline and oil and let the gasoline evaporate, and then you've got sticky two-cycle oil all over the steel wool, and that's what catches the dirt. But not a very good system, but I don't know that I want to improve on it. I think I'll leave it just the way it is. But maybe I can get this stuff in stainless steel. I'll have to go look and see if I have any. If not, be a trip to the grocery store to get one maybe. Anyways, that's the way the air filter stands right now, but I think I'm going to be able to fix it. Okay, I've brazed up those drilled holes that somebody put in there for me. So those are plugged up, blasted the inside, and cleaned up the screens in the blast cabinet too. So everything's cleaned up. You'll notice I brazed on a nut on the inside of this, figuring I can fasten this piece on with a screw in the center, which I can tighten or loosen as I want, and that would make that piece removable rather than the rivet that they had in there. When these were new, they probably bought these things for, you know, $5 or $6. They were probably nothing to get a whole air filter assembly. So I gotta figure a way to fix it. Now, finally got the air filter done. Brazed up the holes that somebody drilled for me in the back, and I fixed that. I just painted the thing. It probably was zinc plated, but this paint's about the same color, and I don't think they're too likely to rust, because when I go to put this on, I have to, you know, dip it in a mixture of oil and gasoline. Put a little Belleville washer on here to eliminate that rivet that was in the center, so I have a screw where I can take this piece off. But anyways, it's painted, and the choke's going to work like that. I'll probably put a little bit of grease between these two plates so they work real smooth. But I did, because it will rust, so what I did was I replaced it with some of this stuff. Now this is stainless steel, and these are like scrubbies. I got this on eBay. It came from China. You can cut it. It's quite compressed together in this package, but you can cut it with a good heavy pair of shears. That's what I use, just scissors to cut it. And because it's obviously a little too big to put in there, but you can you know, spread it out to any size you want. And I think when it's dipped in oil, it's going to do every bit as good as what this stuff would do. They had 2 pads of that in there, was what was inside that air filter. But this is the second filter I cut apart, and I noticed the same thing. A lot of rust and a lot of particles of stuff inside this air filter, and I wouldn't want that getting sucked into the engine. That wouldn't be too good. So that's what I came up with for the air filter fix, and I think that'll be good enough for what I'm trying to do. Managed to get these panels here off of the side of the gas tank. The trick was to pull on this rubber knee grip, pull it this way, and kind of try to pull it that way to peel it off of this rib around here. The rubber was pretty old and pretty hard, so I kind of wiped it down first with some alcohol to try to soften it a little bit. But once you get that off, then there's a screw hole here with a flathead screw in it. You take the flathead screw out, and then this panel, you know, will just push forward, and it fits under a lip that's on the gas tank. It goes under this thing, and that's how it fits on there. But I'd been advised, well, I probably ought to keep these because it does stay Allstate on there is what it says, and the aftermarket ones you get won't say that. They'll have the Puch emblem on there, which I think looks kind of cool too, but Allstate, I guess, is pretty hard to get hold of. So I thought, well, if I got it and it's in good shape, or if I can save it, I'll try to keep it. So I want to get these plated, but my problem is here is a dent on both of these, on both sides. It must happen from the handlebars. I don't know if you can see that very well or not, but there's a dent in there pretty far, half-inch deep maybe. And same with the other side, and right where it looks like maybe the handlebars hit it. My guess is somebody hit something and the bars bend down because they don't have the right piece of rubber in there holding the handlebars, and when the forks hit the stop, it's not protection enough, and it puts a dent in here. So anyways, I'm not going to worry about how it happened, but it looks to me like it's happened. Somebody pounded it out, and then it happened again. So So I'm going to see if I can pound it out. I'm working on this towel here, and I thought, well, I'll use a hammer. I might have to get one that's a little bit smaller. This has a little bit of a crown on it, which is why I like that one. Maybe I can pound it out, or I'll have to take and saw a piece of wood or something to try to match this curve here and pound it with that. But I think to start with, I'm going to try to get that dent out of there, mostly just hitting it on top of here. It's making a start anyways. It's starting to come out. Probably a bigger hammer than I ought to be using. Yeah, I think I need a smaller hammer. Oh, my camera's falling over here. Oh well, guess you saw enough of that anyway. Appears I had to take the gas tank and soak that in the hot tank. Blasting it was pretty hopeless. There's so much paint, there's so many layers of paint with it being, you know, first it was one color and then they put green and then blue, and anyways, this original maroon paint, after I put it in the hot tank, it seems to take off all the green and blue and everything, but the maroon seems to leave a little residue on there yet, which I'm just using like denatured alcohol here to put that stuff on a paper towel, and it wipes off pretty easy. But of course, once you put it through the hot tank, then you're going to see all the boo-boos and mistakes that's been on this thing for years. This is where I had dents in these side panels that were on here. You see I got a dent here, I got another one over here. This is a little bit of Bondo left. I got to push that off there, but the hot tank took off all the Bondo and everything, so all the dents over the years are showing up in this tank. So I'll grind these a little bit and put some new filler in there and sand that off. I don't think the tank leaks any at all. That's one good thing about it. Ooh, that's kind of ear piercing. I had a big dent that somebody tried to, looks like they put lead or something in here to try to fix a big dent that was on the top of the tank. So I'll have to fix that. See if I can't make that a little bit better. But anyways, once I get this cleaned up, I can prime it and paint it. I've got these side panels down being re-chromed right now. That's one of the projects I'm working on, was getting some more stuff chrome plated, but another load of barrel plating and stuff. And anyways, getting down to working on the gas tank. I did that. I also soaked the rear swinging arm in the hot tank, and that got rid of the paint on that too. Both those things would have taken a lot of blast, and I started doing them in the sandblaster, but that was taking too long. So anyways, you can see there's little dents in here, different places I'll have to fill. It'll be easy to see them once I start sanding on it a little bit and get a little sandpaper work, and I'll see the high spots and low spots pretty easy. So but anyways, to take these chrome panels off the side, there was underneath these rubber knee pads, you just had to kind of stretch them a little bit and pull this off. Once you take that off of there, you can get to a screw, and this one screw is what holds it. This screw and this it's just kind of a sheet metal thing here that hooks onto the back of that chrome panel. So they weren't too bad to get off there. Might have trouble getting these back on, I'm not sure, but maybe not. They might go on all right. If I heat them up a little bit and get them warmed up so they're a little soft, they should go on all right.